We're back. Uh, um. All right. Oh, that's not her name. Her name is Lisa. Lisa. Is she actually Lisa Clementine? Lisa Lincoln? Lisa Lincoln is, according to a military website you find, an amputee who lost a limb in Desert Storm. She runs a support group for fellow veterans in Beacon, New York. She makes another appearance listed as a professor at West Point, a military college. She teaches classes that contribute to their environmental engineering major. Her short biography on the staff page she mentions that she had a passion for the military from a very young age, due to erroneously believing that a family member was an Air Force pilot. While she later learned that to be untrue, her passion remained, and she joined ROTC in high school. From there, she enlisted. After returning from Desert Storm, she earned her degree, and relocated to West Point to teach a few years ago. So she's a professor. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's gotta be something with that newspaper. The Miami Sunday. There's too much information. Alright, the Miami Mercury Sunday. Jefferson, Texas. Alright. Chimple cute. Oh, they merged with this newspaper. How did I miss this? The Miami Mercury is now a defunct newspaper that merged with the Miami Sunday. The resulting newspaper, the Miami Mercury Sunday, went out of business. It seems some point during the process it was at least partially archived and available via periodic search. All right. Bess Williams, reveal your secrets. The Miami Mercury had an article about the Bess Williams section in the Bocadoro Library when it was being built in 1928. It mentions Bess's young son, now an orphan, was in attendance during the dedication. It also had a later mention from 1949, the last year the paper existed, about a bidding war for a planned expansion of the library in 1950. The bidding was won by Wildcat Construction and included a new statue fountain and a second room that would double its shelf count. Is listed in some historical records as having worked on many buildings in Miami, Florida area. It seems to have ceased operations in the 1960s. I guess search for it at the periodicals. Wildcat Construction was mentioned once in an article you've already seen about the expansion of the Bocadoro Library. It was also mentioned earlier in 1947 under the headline Constructing a Better World. Frank Wildcat Williams. Wait, am I got the right thing open? Bess Williams. Alright. Frank Wildcat Williams left Florida in 1941. A construction worker and returned a hero. He won the Navy Cross for his bravery and sacrifice, having carried a fellow soldier to safety under heavy Nazi fire. Now he and his wife Ophelia are carrying his fellow soldiers through tough times at home. Wildcat Construction is Frank's company, focused on creating opportunities for soldiers finding difficulty getting back to normal. Ophelia has handled outreach. Why does it do that all of a sudden? Handled outreach to the wives of local veterans who are able to provide insight into their husbands' needs and conditions. She has, through such outreach, found 13 veterans of the war to serve as Frank's employees. Ophelia. here, probably. The community support has been unendingly and overwhelmingly positive. It has gotten to the point where if Frank bids on a project, the local companies have decided to step back and let his soldiers handle it. This has become a bit of a sore spot for local politicians and business owners, as the bids are often not as low as they expected. The problem for them is that essentially Frank has a selective monopoly, but any attempt to circumvent it has caused an uproar, accusation of being un-American for uncertain what will become of Wildcat Construction. At least for now, it's for rooting for them. I search for this guy. Printing! Frank Wildcat Williams is listed on a few different military history websites. He was awarded the Navy Cross Medal in World War II. The story goes that even after being struck in the arm with a bullet, he managed to carry a fellow soldier through enemy territory on his shoulders for over 2 miles. He died in 1996, age 74, in a retirement community in Sweetwater, Florida. An obituary on the website of a local news channel that was written by a surviving family also sheds light on some of his personal life. He grew up an orphan. Because his family died in a hurricane when he was young, he could barely remember his mother. She had no memory of his father. And the war he ran, and after the war he ran a construction company that mainly hired World War II veterans and did a lot of jobs in and around the greater Miami area. He was a born joker and a shining light to those veterans who needed it most. An anecdote mentions that he used to insist he married his wife Ophelia as a matter of courtesy and convenience. They wouldn't have to change her last name. Ophelia Williams. Frank Williams. Construction? I wonder if the picture is what I got. A photo was attached of Frank in his youth juggling hammers in front of the construction sites he was often known to do. According to the article, he is survived by Ophelia as well as his daughters Barb and Sharon. Let's look at the picture. Oh, there's a statue. Okay. It's really the only place he fits. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uh-oh. One of these is wrong. Oh, maybe her name is actually not Webb, it's Clementine. Let's try that. What? Clementine. Ooh, that was it. Booyah. Oh. What? Why is this green and this is not green? Because this name isn't Sterling Edison, it's Sterling Quaker. Oh, Sterling Clementine. Oversight. Alright, let's continue. There's Barb and Sharon Williams. Let's do Barb. Please, 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 please. Be searchable. Oh, thank God. Barb Williams is a motivational speaker. She has a website that explains the services she offers. Her company's address is listed as in Coconut. As in? Oh, as in. The flyer has been added to my evidence. Take a look at it. Take a picture. Her story will surprise you, uplift you, then energize you. Greta Jones. A lesson that anyone can take something away from. Vic Elmsworth. An intimate evening with a truly wonderful message. Isabel Crosby. Book bar for corporate retreats, church events, and even school assemblies. She can customize her message for any audience. Oh, okay. They want me to look for this stuff. Greta Jones. Alright. Let's go back. Let's look for WQTV then. Alright, Greta Jones is, according to a flyer in your possession, the morning news anchor for a channel called WQTV 12. Unfortunately, WQTV 12 has no online presence whatsoever. You do find it listed under a giant list of television call signs next to the city Springfield under the heading Effington County. You may do a deeper dive on a specific city and state. Thank you for the clue. Well, let's just do it. There's two different counties in the United States. One is Georgia, one is in Illinois. Alright, it's gonna be the one in Georgia because it's next to Florida. So let's search for Illinois just for the hell of it. Yeah, okay. It's this one, of course. So do I look for Springfield, Georgia? Find your search to television in and around Springfield, Georgia, and you come across a website that lists different channels available there. This list seems to only feature broadcasts with female news anchors. The person who runs the website just has ranked each using 3 categories. None are relevant to journalism. The entries, Channel 12, and the news anchors listed as Greta Flores. Nope. Let's do Greta. Greta Flores is a news anchor who apparently used to go by Greta Jones before her divorce. Compared to the ordeal you've gone through to simply find out her current name, it's way easier than you expect to find that she has a website of all her accomplishments. She was apparently the MC for an all-female speaking tour in 1977. The tour was called Storytellers of Sisterhood, Mothers and Daughters of Earth. You do a search for it, and it seems some of the stories were compiled into a book simply titled 25 Stories of Sisterhood by Ayla Hale. Let's do the search. I did the title, not the author. Oh, the sweet sound of the printer. This is an anthology of stories told on a few different Storytellers of Sisterhood tours. It contains direct transcripts of the most well-received stories told on stage. Ayla Hale is the editor, not the sole author. One of the stories by Barb Williams has been added to your evidence. I still gotta do... Well, let's make remember to come back to that. Barb Williams had the transcript of a story she told published in a book. The first part of the story focused on 2 16-year-old girls. My sister Sherry was a brat, always sulking off and disobedient, never on time. She borrowed things without asking and even ran away from home to sneak back the next day like nothing had changed. My daughter Sharon, on the other hand, was a beautiful person. She had excellent marks in school, was intensely artistic, and even volunteered at an animal rescue. Alright, this is strange. Oh, okay. She has one daughter, and her daughter is her sister. This is a Jack Nicholson situation. She had her when she was young, and they raised her as her sister. This is the only thing that makes sense here. Let's see. So, this is Barb then. And this must be Sharon. Williams. She has the John Doe already attached, so I got a picture for it too. She was a public speaker. Alright. Nope, here. She continues to tell stories of the 2 girls until she shifts the narrative. What was the difference between Sherry the brat and Sharon the beauty? Is it nature, nurture, a better education, different opportunities? The answer is nothing. There was no difference because my sister and my daughter are the same girl. Alright, I just had to read a little further. Barb reveals that her daughter was the result of an unexpected pregnancy when she was 15. I met a boy at a county fair. Unlike us, he lived in the nice part of town. He went to the good school. Nice part of town. I don't know, this game is shifty. I'm wondering if this John Doe is important. Let's remember this. There was a story about... like, it's too hard. Somebody went to school in a different state. Who was it? There's more stuff about Ron, I'm sure. Ron Roottrees that I didn't find. There are boxes all over his house. He was moving in 3 days. Those 3 days were heaven to me. The final night he surprised me. He told me he could actually see me again soon. He planned to return to visit his grandparents. I thought I was giving him a reason to keep his promise. I never saw him again. When I finally got desperate enough to ask around, a friend of a friend told me he hadn't even given me his real last name. Barb also talks about when she found out she was pregnant. I was convinced my life was over, but my parents, they took charge. I had to live at home and work a part-time job, and they removed the burden of motherhood. I managed to scrape out a degree in English, and as far as my daughter was concerned, I was her much older sister. Barb uses the story to come to a conclusion. When I was younger, I thought my sister was the brat, and I wasn't wrong. She ran away from home to work at an animal shelter. She borrowed my clothes for presentations at school, and her creativity allowed her to open up Sherry's hair. It took me far too long to realize the beauty was always there too. In fact, the brat and the beauty exist in all of us. It was my inner brat that kept me blind to the truth, and I'd like to say it's the beauty in me that's finally able to see what I was missing. I implore you to call upon the beauties in yourselves whenever the brat tries to take hold. Alright, Sherry's hair. Bingo! The Sherry's hair in Orlando. The owner of the business was listed as Sherry Yastrzemski. Sherry has a large van, and on weekends can bring the style of Brittany, Christina, or even Rachel to your door. The About Sherry section is very, very long and presented as one paragraph with multiple run-on sentences and no pictures. You get the sense that if she were to do your hair, she'd be doing a lot of talking. It mentions that her husband, Pete, was her late husband's college roommate. Okay, he had never spent any significant time together until she became a widow, and they built a charity together. They left the charity behind because it was growing beyond their ability to run it. Let's interrupt. So this is Peter Yastrzemski. There it is. Oh, we got a picture for him too. Don't know him. She also brags about her kids, Tony, Mark, and Cricket. Her oldest, Tony, seems to get the short end of the stick. His two listed accomplishments are that he's the oldest and he's a straight A student. Mark, on the other hand, has multiple baseball accomplishments listed. Apparently his little league team is nationally recognized. Cricket York is near the end. She has an entire section dedicated to her. She's an actress on a local television show called Library, and the reason Sherry relocated to from Miami to Orlando. Sherry, in addition to being hireable to come do your due, is a stylist for the show. The passage also mentions that her agent recommended they change their last name to York since it was easier to pronounce. The rest of the section describes how she got the part, but it seems unimportant to your search. Tony. Oh, Anthony. Anthony something. This was Cricket. Well, I guess Yastrzemski, even though it says York. She's an actor. This was Mark. Marsha? Mark. Mark unknown. Cricket York. Ooh. Library is a children's show filmed in a studio in Orlando, Florida. It has been on the air since 1991. In the show, multiple adults and children interact with different animal puppets in a small town called Library. Unlike some other popular shows involving non-human performers, this one isn't funded by the public. Instead, it's paid for by donations from businesses related to education. This includes textbook manufacturers like Arithmetic. Ooh, we got Arithmetic. And Educate to You. Ooh, we got a print on that one too. Alright, let's highlight them. Don't forget. Don't forget to go back. From what you can find, it's syndicated in a few markets across the southern United States and in New Hampshire for some reason. Like most other children's entertainment, many of those that grew up with it tend to have fond memories. That works in your favor because the show has been documented by a few fan sites. There's even a library web ring. Though it only has three entries. You click through the sites in the ring and find that Cricket York joined the cast in 1997 at the age of 5 and is still listed as a current cast member. A picture of Cricket from one of her episodes has been added to your evidence. Alright. Arithmetic is a math textbook publishing company. They were in the news last year when a primetime news program did a full comparison of their 4th edition textbooks from 1996 and their 5th edition textbooks from 1998. Schools were complaining that the two editions seemed remarkably similar, yet Arithmetic was charging almost double for the newer edition than they had for the previous one. The news program announced that between the two books there were only 16 total changes, and most noticeable was that the cover was changed from a picture of a water droplet creating concentric rings on a lake to a close-up of a feather. The other 15 were all instances of changing 4th to 5th. This even led to a geometry problem where the book asked students to calculate the 5th side of a rectangle. Why was it 4th side to begin with? Nobody... Okay. Unrelated. This one seemed more important. Since it printed. Educate to You is a tutoring service. They have a deal with Library and feature some of the actors from the show and pictures on their website. According to the site, they actually provide tutoring for all the actors and actresses on the show to accommodate their shooting schedules. Included is Cricket York, who is seen in a photo labeled Cricket and Her Brothers, to learn from one of our talented tutors. You don't find much else about Educate to You, except that there seems to be a small subsection of library fans who were deeply unsettled by the company's logo, which would appear after the credits on each episode. One writes, "I was terrified of the little girl in the Educate to You logo. She looked like some kind of demon doll, and I'd race to the TV every day to switch the dial before the creepy laugh came on." Give me the pictures. Where are you? There's one. Hello, Cricket. I got more, right? There's more. Alright, we got the pictures. We got 2 pictures of Cricket. Older, younger. Oh, no, I can't do this yet. Alright. That's that. What were we doing before? Oh, we were looking at this. I didn't do Vic Elmsworth. Oh, the Kikiwa Falls Gazette. Search. There's no Kikiwa Falls anywhere in the world that you can find. The closest thing to Kikiwa appears to be in New Zealand. Instead, a man named Chris Elmsworth has invented a small town newspaper as a conceptual art piece. The Kikiwa Falls Gazette is a series of online articles about small restaurants, shows, and other tourist attractions all across America. This is presented as a monthly newspaper of small town America. What makes the Kikiwa Falls Gazette a bit strange is that amongst the articles detailing real locations are occasional stories that present outlandish, inflammatory concepts in extremely mundane ways. For example, on the homepage right now is an article entitled "Mermaids Strike Back Against Lobster Farms," that, using very dry language, details the idea that the mermaids in Maine have begun to unionize in support of better benefits. There are no punchlines, and the articles are not marked any different from the rest. Unfortunately, each current issue of the newspaper is presented on the homepage. There's no archives. Chris Elmsworth. Same. But that wasn't the name on the thing. It was Vic Elmsworth. Vic Elmsworth, according to his own personal page, is apparently one of 3 brothers. All 3 of them are contributors to a newspaper called the Kikwa Falls Gazette, and he tends to focus more on the southeastern United States. All of the articles he's written are archived on the site, including a long-form version of the review for Barb Williams' motivational show from 1997. According to Victor, he had seen Barb talk more than once. On this particular occasion, Barb's talk was at a very large church, and it was clear that she was an expert at matching the presentation of her concepts for any particular crowd, because she received a standing ovation. Barb started with a story about loss, specifically the loss of a bicyclist who had been hit by a car. She spoke about the death of any person as a darkness in their loved ones, a cold, empty void that begins to creep into a space where there was once light. Because the light would never return exactly how once it was, she says the only option is to nurture new sources of light to help fight back the darkness. Her conclusion was that finding the hidden meaning in tragedy is the most important thing we can do. She used multiple biblical comparisons and finished by looping back around to her initial story and how she personally began to come around to this ideology. The biker who died was her son-in-law, and the Lanes Across America charity was created to fill the newfound darkness her daughter experienced. The charity was the light that began to fill the void, and she was doing everything she could to help nurture it. Lanes Across America, or LLA, is a charity focused on adding bike lanes to major cities. The pages of news articles that mention Lanes Across America have a similar summary in them. LAA, former LAM, Miami, was founded in 1977 after the death of Drew Smith. Drew was biking home from work when he was hit by a car. Each year since, Lanes Across America has grown, and they now have offices in over 12 major metropolitan areas, including Miami, where the charity began. The website for the charity has a picture of Drew. The photo has been added to your evidence. What about Lanes Across Miami? Ooh. Searching for Lanes Across Miami does narrow down the pages of articles you found earlier to those with a more depth history about the charity. You find some additional information. LAM was formed in 1987, became LAA in 1994. It was founded by Sharon Smith after the death of her husband. Does this give me anything? No. Sharon and some other board members stepped down in 1992 and the current leadership took over. One of the oldest articles has a full uncropped version of the same wedding photo from the LLA website. It seems that after Sharon left LAM, they began to crop her and the rest of her wedding party out of the photo to focus solely on Drew, who is the face of the charity. The full photo has been added to your inventory. Alright. They got 2 pictures. Well, there he is. That must be Peter. Pete. Andrew Smith, wasn't it? Sharon Williams. Oh, jeez, what was her job? Sherry's hair. Oh, hairdresser. Okay. Picture you. Smith. That's the first name, sorry. They're kids, right? Student. Ooh. What? Where's this 32 coming from? Oh, didn't get his name.
Hi again. I know you probably thought you were done. But it turns out what you're doing here might have some pretty major repercussions on the family tree.
Again. Also, there's something really strange happening. I can't explain it.
Neither of us can.
I'd call it a simple misunderstanding, but it's digging at the pit of my stomach.
Last week, let's just say being the president, sometimes people bring me things.
Just skip to the important part.
Right. One of our janitors brought me some hair she'd found in Ruby Spratt's trash. It was Bonnie Hudson's. Bonnie is Guy's sister. She'd sent us her hair to test potential Roottrees, since her DNA is closest to Guy's. But Ruby threw it out, and I wasn't sure why she would have done that. Especially right before we began testing the tree you provided. When I asked, she told me she thought the samples needed to be fresh every time they did a test.
It seems really odd. Ruby was the one who convinced us to do DNA testing in the first place. She seemed so knowledgeable. I don't like it. You've done more of a deep dive on these people than anybody else has. Clark will keep a closer eye on the DNA tests from now on. You have an eye for anomalies. We need you to find the smoking guns.
If there's anyone you're 100% positive can't be a Roottree,
Or any you've got definitive evidence are Roottrees,
There's only one I'm sure about.
then we might be able to catch Ruby in a lie.
Oh. Pictures. His name is not Sterling Clementine? What's this guy's name? Well, that's something I'll have to find out later. Oh, what? I thought these guys were set. Oh my god. At least it's giving me something to look at. And obviously something I've never found before. Alright, I guess this is a whole area I haven't explored. 2 new people in the middle. Ruby. Now the question is, can you get... Like, how good is using a sibling's DNA? Are they twins? Even then, they're not identical. Alright. Blood relative, not... It might be a Rootree, but it's a possible proof. I found anything. If I remember correctly, he might be in this category. Because we just can't know. He just appeared at any point sometimes after. So we need the DNA test. And then everything goes from there. I'm pretty sure he's not a Rootree because of the story. But he's possible. I found everything, so I guess I gotta review that. Oh, there's something I haven't found. Oh no, I have to go through this again. This one seems likely. Now this one, they said he passed the DNA test, so this must be some cahoots going on. So maybe he's not. Because of this song. Like it's as part of his plan. Maybe. But I have to search for that some more. This one just came out of absolute nowhere. Like she could be or she could be. We don't know. Like, did he have an affair? Like, did I find any Missing clues about her. That guy-ish. And this guy's got the... This one's very likely, because he's in the picture. He's got the red hair. They broke up. I have to see if he, like, she was pregnant when they got married. Now, they were together a long time. This is likely, but I have to check the times. These guys. These were always in this zone. Even in the last game. Like, I was like, what is this zone? Like, nobody else has it. But I wonder if that was in the original game, or that just, like, they knew in Roottrees Mania this was going to come up. Alright. I got some explaining to do. Maybe when I come back, I'll start going with Gwyn. Alright, does my evidence give me... What? Still does. So Nanamom was Corinne Schwartz. Alright, I'm gonna focus. Alright. Next time.